Hi, my name is Sarita.
And my name is Rena.
We are both past patients with Mexico Bariatric Center, and we are here to break the stigma of having weight loss surgery in Tijuana, Mexico. We will be covering all things bariatric to help you get the most out of this weight loss journey.
Hi friends!
Hello friends.
Welcome to Can You Stomach This? What are we talking about today, Sarita?
Today we are going to talk about the truth about regain and what no one tells you.
That's true. So, if you are someone who's worried about regain, or if you're currently going through regain, well, you're not alone, and this podcast is for you. So tune in and let's talk about it. Drop a truth bomb on us first. Let's just kick this thing off with a truth bomb, right, Sarita? What would you say is a total truth bomb about regain?
Regain is common.
It is.
It does not mean you failed.
Right.
It can happen to anyone. It's happened to us. We'll go into that later.
Yeah.
So that is
right.
Common.
It is, and so I do want to really stress that regain does not equal failure in any capacity. Success isn't maintenance, the perfect maintenance. We all think that we all tend to think, I should say, or many of us tend to think that success means maintaining perfectly, and that's not true. Success is learning to navigate with the ups and downs, and that includes regain when it happens. So
sometimes your weight does fluctuate up and down.
It does,
especially for women.
Ooh, yeah, especially
big time for women.
Especially for women.
Yeah.
Sarita, what is tell us your regain story. Sarita's regain story is...
I have a couple.
Yeah.
So, my first one was COVID. I had COVID before COVID was COVID. Like, they didn't know what I had. They're like, you have a virus. We've never seen it before. Well, I was sick for weeks. By the time COVID hit, I finally started to get better. Like, the world shut down, right? And I hadn't gone to the store. No food. And when I did make it to the store, there was no food. And so I wasn't eating right. I was terrified. Thought we were all going to die. And I ate some junk, like, because it really was hard to find food. Like, all the shelves were empty. Sometimes you couldn't even get into the store. It was horrible. Anyway, so I gained 20 pounds. And then when COVID, like, the world opened back up, I lost it again. I started eating right again and working out. Couldn't even go to the gym.
Right.
Everything was closed, And so that was my first story. And so I lost the 20 pounds. And then 2 years ago, my dad died. And I had to spend a lot of time in Oregon, settling his estate and grieving, and probably gained about 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it could have been worse.
It could have.
It could have been worse. I could have just totally went off the rails.
I saw you go through that, and you really did, like, regain, like, reset and get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had a couple of regain stories myself. So I had VSG. I lost 150 pounds. I started gaining a little bit of weight back, but in that time it wasn't outside the norm. We'll get into this more because some regain is normal post-surgery, so I had gained back that normal. That's, normal. I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Statistically, you gain about 5 to 15% after about 2 years back. It's completely normal. And so that wasn't really where it was, but then I had revision to the Sadie procedure. And, that's like, in my mind, it was like the big daddy, go big or go home. People think you can't gain weight with that surgery. I'm never going to gain weight again. And that's not true, because I did. Mm-hmm. So then I lost, I can't remember the number off the top of my head right now. I guess I should have wrote that down to talk about it. But I had lost down to 220 pounds was my lowest weight. And then it was like as soon as I hit the 220 mark, it just the scale just started zooming back up, and I went all the way back up to, I think also at that time I was kind of looking at skin removal.
You
and
you had a goal. I remember.
I
You
did.
got to a certain BMI.
I did, and then I didn't get to have that skin removal.
Because he left.
Because the surgeon retired.
Right.
Actually it was scheduled, and then they misscheduled it, and so they had to redo the schedule, and then he didn't have another opening, and he retired. And I think at that point it kind of turned into self-sabotage, because I'd shot back up to 260, 280, 280 on those bad days, right?
I remember.
Yeah, so I hovered in that 260, 280 range. So I gained 50 pounds, in that time. So, but I have since lost, I've regained control, not weight, since then.
Yes.
And so now I've gotten down to 195. So, but let's
Amazing.
talk. Yeah, right? It's 262 pounds of weight loss, which is absolutely insane, because that's like a whole overweight person. But we're going to talk about some of those things. Self-sabotage is one of the reasons that people regain grief, like with you. There's so many different reasons. Yeah, stress, life. Oh, jeez.
Life. Yeah.
Yeah. But, one of the things that is really hard is that a shame spiral, I guess you could say it that way.
Right.
When you regain weight, you feel guilt and shame, and
Deep shame inside.
yeah, you do. And if as a society we could help normalize, we need to normalize regain, because it's real, it happens. We are human. We're all human. We're all living a human journey. And if we could normalize that, which Sarita's like, that's not possible. We can't do that because of people's mentality, which is true, people's mentality. But
In a perfect world, yes, but
in a perfect world,
we don't live in a perfect world.
we don't. But if we could normalize, if we could all work together to help normalize regain, it would help people who have had that regain more comfortably get back into the support groups that they need, instead of walking with their head hung down in shame, or just feeling defeated. People feel defeated once they go through regain,
And
judged. Yeah, so judged. So if we could help normalize that, then maybe they could re-engage in the support they need without feeling so guilty. But, we need to take this regain from blame to biology, right? Because sometimes it's a biological thing. We need to take it from judgment to understanding, take it from silence to support, right? All of those things would kind of help with that. And like we said, there's so many reasons. What did we say? We said stress, emotional eating. We didn't mention that. Then there's metabolic adaptation. Your body will adjust to the surgery, to the hormones, to, one of the reasons you lose weight is a metabolic reset, right? So then you have a metabolic adaptation, and then you're no longer reset, right? And of course, changes in habit, and Sarita's favorite, unresolved issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just dive into that. Why does it happen?
We need to get help for the unresolved issues.
Me?
No, people in general.
All of us.
I did.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
Well, we did just talk a little bit about the biology, right? So I'll hit on that a little more. When you have your stomach, if you have VSG, any of the surgeries, really, you're removing a portion of the stomach that creates the ghrelin. I hope I said that right. I feel like I always say it wrong. I know, but I always feel like I say it wrong. So I want to say gremlin, I think.
Or that. You
little
remove the gremlin from your
little
stomach.
gremlin in your stomach. So the ghrelin.
Yeah.
But anyway, over time, you do get ghrelin back. Like, it can come from other parts of the body, like the duodenum or the pancreas. It's created in other places. So you can start feeling those hunger things again.
But even I'm almost 9 years out now. There would be days when I don't feel hungry at all.
Right.
And sometimes I'll feel hungry at noon,
And then there's days when I'm starving all day.
Right. Yeah.
Today's been one of those days.
Yeah.
And behavioral shifts.
Yes. old habits creeping in. So, big thing, grazing, like just, it's almost like boredom, like you're just grazing, not tracking your food, not weighing your food, eating slider foods, which, it's easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, I talk to patients all day, every day, and my first question is, are you tracking on an app? Are you doing everything you're supposed to do?
Yeah, and then you have...
And that's how we get off track.
It is how we get off track. And then you have mental health issues, right? So with mental health issues, you have emotional eating, you have trauma, self-sabotage that I mentioned.
I self-sabotage myself.
It happens.
I was in counseling too, and I knew I was doing it, and we, figured it out and got back on track.
There was a time, one time that I was self-sabotaging and didn't know it, so I had picked up a little bit of a sweet tooth. And instead of like trying to get away from that, I just kept more and more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So anyway, life events. Oh, burnout. Burnout is another part of the mental health aspect. And then you have life events, such as what Sarita talked about with grief.
Like somebody dies, you go through a divorce, you change jobs. We're the sandwich generation. We have, I think that is a big stressful thing too. We have parents who are aging. We have kids still at home. We have grandkids. That's very stressful. And I think that falls under parenting stress.
Yeah.
Because we have all this stuff around us.
What was it I said earlier? Life gets real and life gets in the way.
Yeah, life
It
gets in the way.
It gets real and it gets in the way, right? And to hit on that too, I literally just told Sarita before we started this episode that I went on vacation and lost weight. And I come back from vacation and it's so hard. Like most people go on vacation and gain weight because they go out of town, they go on vacation and they wild out.
Yeah, wild
out. But when I go out of town, I find myself being more structured and more disciplined. And I'm like, maybe I should go on more vacations, right?
Oh yeah.
But I do find myself more disciplined. But anyway, speaking of that, loss of structure, right? So our home life gets real, gets in the way, and we have loss of structure. So loss of structure sometimes is less support. And then there's not only self-sabotage, but support.
People will sabotage you.
Yeah, your support system can begin to sabotage you as well.
They sure can. Friends, family, kids, husbands. They can and will sabotage you.
They can and will, and sometimes they do without realizing that they are.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's always intentional, but sometimes it is intentional through jealousy or maybe they don't like the newer version of you because
you're stronger, you're more self-confident. Your whole life changes, and maybe they don't like that version.
Right, and then also like there's less accountability after sometimes people. If you take advantage of the honeymoon phase, you often find yourself not having as much accountability.
Right.
But even if you don't take advantage of it, you can find yourself with less accountability. By the way, speaking of the honeymoon phase, we do have a future episode coming up on that.
Yes, we definitely need to talk about the honeymoon phase.
I don't know when, but it will be coming out. It is on the list. But anyway, moving on. We talked about that shame spiral. When people get stuck in this regain rut, that's a great way to say that, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this already, but in the shame spiral, people feel defeated, embarrassed. They stop checking in, right?
Yeah, and being on Facebook, like, I monitor all the groups, and at the beginning, they check in all the time and all this, then at some point they stop checking in.
Right.
And then several months later they're back, and I wish they had never left, but we're there to support each other, and I think shame kind of pulls them away from that.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of a couple of patients that I was kind of following their journey pretty closely. Maybe I was their coordinator. Maybe we just really
Right.
connected.
We connect with all kinds of patients.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I just connected with them in the groups, right?
Right,
Like just
yeah.
something connected.
Right.
And, you know, I'll see their posts and all their encouragement to other people and posting their successes and their NSVs. If you hadn't watched the episode on NSVs, hit that up. But well, it's coming, so you can watch it when it comes out. But we do
Right.
have that too.
It's in the works. Yeah.
It's in the works too. So NSVs. Anyway, so you know, then they just disappeared,
They do. They disappear.
and you noticed. You're like, where'd they go? You know?
Yeah, and I'll like look at their page and see if they're okay. Or
Yeah.
I'll message them. Are you okay?
And I've
Just
reached
checking
out to
in.
those people too. You know, I've reached out to them and said, hey, you know, how's it going? Or like, it's been a year, or it's, you know,
Yeah.
you're coming up on your 1 year. How's it going? Or your 2 year. Or, and then sometimes they just say they're fine. And sometimes they just openly say, I've just fallen off the wagon and I feel so defeated. And
that's where I come in.
yeah, and then Sarita, hey, let me get Sarita on the horn for you.
Yeah.
I always say they'll get them on the horn. Old fashioned saying there, but I always say, let me get Sarita on for you. She can help you get back on track. And
Between me and Natalie, yes, we can get you back on track.
Sarita's a great accountability person. She'll tell you real quick, you're self-sabotaging or you're doing things you don't need to do. But you know, anyway, feeling shame. Sometimes people feel shame.
Right.
Shame leads to isolation. Isolation fuels more regain because you're not networking. You're not working it, right? And then you have that, like, if I'd have just been more disciplined mentality, like that challenge, you have to challenge that belief because a lot of people feel that way. Like, maybe I should have just been more disciplined. Maybe I should have.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, Sarita said, we were talking about this, and Sarita said, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, you shoulda, but you didn't, and that's okay, right?
There's no shame in this.
There's no shame. You didn't have to shoulda or coulda.
Yeah. There's
you
no
still
shame
coulda.
in this. Like
Whatever.
We're here to help.
I lost my word there, but anyway.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, okay? You didn't have to shoulda, you still coulda, and I don't know, something to go with woulda. I'm not being creative in my language right now. But anyway, I want to emphasize here too that weight regain doesn't erase your progress or your value.
Right.
Your progress is important. You worked hard to get where you are, and there is value in that.
Right.
So speaking back to what we were saying a minute ago, how to get back on track, things like that. So how do you get back there?
Go back to the basics.
Yeah, back to the basics. I always say ditch that diet toxicity because diet is, to me, an ugly word.
It is. It doesn't fit the scenario at all.
No, you can't diet.
Even though we do call it a pre-op diet because that's what it's there to
Yeah.
shrink your liver, and then post-op guidelines, right? So it's not a diet; it's changing the way you eat.
Right. So if you define diet is what you eat, right? So diet.
But we have a tendency to.
You can't go on a diet.
Right. We don't want you to go on a diet for the rest of your life.
Right.
We want you to follow these guidelines to
change your diet.
To change the way, you eat and, your lifestyle and, get you healthy.
Right. And so ditch that whole mindset because, you had to ditch that to get where you were. This wasn't a diet, wasn't a crash diet. It was a real life change.
This is a long-term solution.
So go back to basics, right?
Go back to basics.
Go back to protein first, water, exercise.
Track everything.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard Sarita say, track everything. Sarita, I'm losing myself. And the first thing she's going to say to you, I promise you, is, are you tracking everything?
I'm like, do you have an app? Are you tracking everything you eat and drink? Are you tracking your activity? Here's your macros. Punch them into your app. I want to see your pie chart at the end of the day.
Don't lie to her either, because she'll be like, screenshot it, send it to me, let me
Yep.
see what you're eating.
Yep. I'm like, screenshot it all. Yeah.
What are you eating?
And then we can go through each little piece of the pie.
There's
Like,
too many carbs in that meal. There's too much fat in your diet today.
Yeah.
Too much fat in the food that you ate today. So
I mean, you know, it's hard at first.
yeah, and Sarita's favorite too. Her next favorite thing to suggest. I don't want to say tell people, but to suggest is meal prepping.
Oh yeah, meal prepping.
And that's something that she even does now. I'm not a meal prepper. We are total polar opposites there.
But I live alone too, so
Yeah.
like you have a big family.
Big family.
I live alone, so it's easy for me to meal prep. When my son was here, I would meal prep and he would eat too. But now it's just me, and it's easier because I don't have to worry about anyone else.
The weird thing about the whole meal prepping thing is like I can't do it for myself because I don't like leftovers.
I love
like I truly
leftovers.
don't like leftovers. When I go out to eat somewhere, do I have leftovers? Yes, lots of them, and I bring them home and my kids eat them, right? Because like I just don't like leftovers. But when I am with Sarita and she's like, here, have some food, it's almost always leftovers. It's always something she's meal preps. And I love it and it's great, but it wasn't mine. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing.
I grew up on leftovers. We had a big family, and
We did too, and I don't know, maybe that contributes to why I don't like them.
I love leftovers.
Anyway, so moving on, let's get back to Regain here. I do struggle with meal prepping, but if you are also a person that struggles with meal prepping, then just discipline yourself back to what worked for you, right? And what worked for you before may not work again, so you may just need to zero out and start all the way over.
Just try it.
Right. And then also sometimes, like if it's a mental health issue or just a mental issue that if one of your Regain reasons is like eating problems, it's not always eating, right? But if it is eating, then ask yourself, before you eat something, then say, what am I feeling? Like, what am I feeling before I eat?
Right. Am I hungry? Am I
really
happy?
hungry?
Am I sad? Am I bored?
Is this real hunger?
Right.
Boredom. Some people
You
eat
can
out of
tell real
boredom,
hunger.
out of stress.
Yeah.
And then if it is one of those things and it's not actual hunger, then journal your emotions instead of eating them.
Right.
Right? That would
Or
help.
Do something else.
Right. So that's a great tip that we have there. And then also get involved again. If you're MBC patient, we've got our support groups. You can reach out to the nutritionist. You can reach out to Sarita. You have so much support there. And then, of course, patient support from other patients. Just getting involved with if you get on the group, let's say you're a couple years out, right? You really haven't been on the groups much. And then you get back in the groups. Yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff that was probably being posted and shared when you first started, but
every day.
But don't you need that again?
Yes.
Right?
You need that daily reminder.
Right. And then you see other people and it's their new journey and they're so excited and they're getting started, and it will help encourage you.
And motivate.
Yeah, encourage and motivate you to.
You can mentor people, and
Yes.
how great is that?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I think it is. I think therapy is a great thing too.
Yes.
I was in therapy before, during, and after, and I think that it really helped me.
Yeah.
Not everyone can, go to therapy. I was talking to a patient the other day, and we talked about therapy, and like, you can do Zoom therapy. You don't have to go in person.
Right. It's so common.
And you can also use your EAP at work, employee assistance program. You get like 10 free sessions. Like, that's a great way to start.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
That's
I
pretty cool.
was trying to find some ways, for her to, get some therapy.
Yeah. And, other things too, if, reaching out, if you don't want to reach back out to us, maybe consider like a private nutritional support person or behavioral support even.
I mean, they have Overeaters Anonymous. Like, a lot of our patients have gone there prior to and continue. I mean, it's a great group and all kinds of, topics there.
Yeah, and then also, celebrate non-scale victories. We talked about that, but also set goals that are off the scale, right?
Yes.
Like, set goals. Sometimes for me, it's like, and instead of working all day every day and then getting off work and feeling blah because I sat at my desk all day, then I make it a goal to walk a mile before work, walk a mile at lunch, walk a mile when I get off work, something like that. So in the little area in my neighborhood that I walk, if I walk the whole little route, it's a mile and it takes me like 20 minutes to walk it, right? So I can do that before work, or if, when I go to lunch, I could do it and get off work and take a walk, take the baby for a walk after lunch. After dinner, something like that. So, and my dog, I love walking my dog. My dog loves walking me.
My dog loves walking me. 85 pounds of love.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just set goals that are not, so for me, that would be more like a mood boosting goal or an energy boosting goal. Like set those kind of goals. Like what can you do to feel better at the end of the week? Or what can you do to maintain consistency, right? Like your tracking goals, like try to maintain consistency and things like that. So you can set goals outside of the scale.
Oh yeah, don't let that scale rule your life.
Yeah, sometimes you really just have to stop looking at it and just make your goals about how you feel. But anyway, again, regain is not failure. Regain isn't the end of your story. It is just simply a signal to get back on track. It's not a sentence of doom. You're not sentenced to doom of failure, right?
And you're definitely not alone. You are not a failure. You can always begin again, and the support is available.
Yeah, it's out there. It
is out
you
there.
had it in the beginning. You can always get back to it. The support never went anywhere.
No.
Usually you did, right? Sometimes we want to say,
Come back.
So we're real quick to say, oh, they stopped supporting me, whoever they is. But we're real quick to say that. But the truth is we walked away from it. The support never really left. We walked away from it. You can always, like she said, you can always begin again. I can't stress enough, regain's not failure. It's just part of the journey. And I want to say, something that we didn't talk about was how muscle tone causes regain. So some people get really discouraged when they've lost a lot of weight and they're ready to get in the gym and, tone their muscle, and the scales start going up and they freak out. That's
muscle and
that's
fat.
good.
Muscle and fat weigh the same. Muscle takes up less space. So yes, you may gain weight. That happened to me. And I was pure muscle,
Those are the instances where you see the inches falling
Right,
off.
and your clothes are getting, you're getting smaller in size, and your clothes are getting smaller, and it's almost like body recomposition.
Right. Right. So just, keep that in mind too. So if you are one of those people that's regaining, but you're doing all the things, check your sizes, measure yourself, because you might not be gaining fat, you're probably gaining muscle.
Right.
Another thing we didn't touch on, we did say a little bit about it, women and hormones. I see so many people, like one time of the month or whatever, they're like, oh, I've gained 5 pounds. That's normal.
It's normal.
That's normal.
It's not fair, but it is normal.
Yeah, it is normal.
It's so unfair.
Really? But it is unfair. But it happens. And then also, having babies, middle-aged women going through menopause, premenopause, things like that.
More hormones.
More hormones. And you can recover from that. You can if you gain weight going through that, you can recover from that.
Yeah, you sure can.
Yep. That's really all I have on regain. I could talk about regain all day, but we've kind of hit the highlights there.
Yeah, it's a thing. It happens. It's not horrible. There's things, you can do.
Is there anything you could add that we haven't said?
I would say celebrate your non-scale victories and your overall health. That's your priority. Your health.
Right.
That has been my priority.
Yes.
Since I started this.
And don't, again, I think I said this earlier, it's not about maintaining it's not about perfect maintenance. It's about learning to juggle success with the ups and downs.
There's lots of ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's it for me.
Me
You
too.
good? Okay. Well, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our information is here, and if you want to share your regain story with us, go ahead. I did want to add one thing, Sarita. You know, sometimes if you have regain and you can't get it under control, and it's like a metabolic issue, sometimes then the answer is maybe perhaps revision.
Right.
Especially if you've had not had a malabsorptive procedure and you had like gastric sleeve, which is just a restrictive procedure.
Yeah.
You do still have that option. I would say to anybody considering that to make sure you're ready for it. If you have a lot of the things that we talked about in terms of like eating habits and things like that, get those under control before you go into revision. But anyway, then that does conclude it. I did want to throw that one in there. We talked about it and I forgot to throw it in, but that's about it for me. So bye, friends.
Bye.